Good afternoon, and welcome to the garden. Welcome to Garden Conversations with Rose. It's Saturday, August the 9th, 2025, and many persons are taking a time away. They are pausing from their usual weekly activity. We told you yesterday in the garden that we would come again to you to expand a bit about the word pause as it relates to the 2025-2026 school year. So here we are today as we talk about pause. There are 5 words I need you to remember as we go along and talk about pause. And the first word is perspective. Perspective. The second word is appreciation. The third word is unity or unison. The fourth, selective. And the final or the fifth word is engage. Perspective, appreciation, unity, selective, and engage. How do these 5 words tie in with what we are going to expand on today? Usually, when one takes a pause, one is taking a little break, a temporary break or interruption in an activity, an action, or even speech, a little rest, as it were. When we think of the word perspective, we're thinking about looking at things in a reasonable and wise fashion. When we are thinking about appreciation, we are thinking about recognizing the importance and indeed the value of a situation, an event, or even an individual. When we think about unity, we are thinking about positivity and togetherness, working along in an effort to attain some sort of good resolution. When we're thinking about selective, we are thinking about intentionally applying and choosing a thing over the other. We are thinking about being specific in an activity or even in the effect of an activity. And then, of course, when we think about engage, we are thinking about occupying ourselves, practicing, undertaking, or participating in an event or an activity. How do we tie in all those words as they relate to the new school year? So, of course, first of all, I need to speak to my beautiful parents. Parents, undoubtedly, if you have a child attending an institution, that child may either be getting into a new class or form, they may be getting into a new school, they may be getting into new activities, seeing new teachers, maybe having to go through new school leadership. And of course, you as a parent may be finding yourselves inundated with protocols, expectations, guidelines, all sorts of novelties that may very well seem burdensome, irritating, questionable, even. And you may be tempted to speak out of turn, to be rash and crass. But I want to urge you, parents, as we are about to start the new school year, to think about the word perspective. Amidst all of what I've just said, think about being reasonable and being wise. I need you not to be quick to judge, to cast blame, to criticize, or even to tear down. I need you instead to think about purpose as it relates to the education of your child. I need you to be very, very mindful your tone, whether that tone is verbal or even nonverbal. This is what I'm talking about when I speak to you about perspective, being reasonable and being wise, thinking about the purpose as you was in the new school year. And so for you to my students, you may have just entered a new school, a whole new environment that you aren't quite sure how you're going to fit in. You may find yourself having to deal with new teachers, having to take on new subject areas that you hadn't yet done. You may very well find yourself having to deal with a new school leadership, and you are not quite sure as to how that is going to play out. And of course, you may be very well be quick to be judgmental. I know you students, when a new teacher comes along and you begin to compare how the other teacher taught as opposed to the new one, I want you to think of things reasonable. Otherwise, you aren't too young to do that. So I need you to hold back on that name calling. I need you also to not be resentful when there are new guidelines that you need to follow, things that you hadn't anticipated. I need you to watch your tone of voice as you speak to those in authority. I need you also to think about other children who may be quite new to the surroundings they have come around as a result of migration. They may have come around as a result of other situations. They may be even differently abled. Need you to be mindful of how you react. What is your perspective going to be like as you interact with your peers and even with your teachers and those in authority, or even the other adult members who work on the school compound? Be mindful of your purpose. Why are you at school? You are there to excel. Make yourself proud. Make your parents proud. Make your school proud, even to satisfy the potential that you truly possess. So that is why you're at school. In spite of all the novelties, bear in mind your perspective. Be reasonable and of course be wise. And of course, my educators. I need you also to remember that you may be very well having to deal with a new environment. You might have been transferred. You might have been reintegrated with another institution. You are facing undoubtedly new students from other locations into a new class if you're a subject teacher. You may have new colleagues that might have been brought on board, and you might have new leadership at the school level or higher above. They too may come with new things that may not rub you the right way. I need you to be reasonable and I need you to be wise. Perspective matters. So, of course, I don't want you to be quick to denigrate and to tear down. Put things into perspective and think about the reason why you are here and why you are at school. Perspective as we pause. So then we move on to the word. Remember what that word was? It's the word appreciation. When we show appreciation, we are remembering the value and the importance in recognizing that as we see it appearing. So, of course, parents, I've got to start with you again. I need you to stand together with the school. I need you to understand that teaching, running a school even, is by no means an easy task. I can tell you, I've almost had 40 years of being in this noble profession. So I can tell you very boldly that teaching is by no means easy. We have to deal with a wide variety, a plethora of situations that come along to dealing with a large number of children from various backgrounds who come with their own situations. We have to deal with other adults, such as the colleagues among us, and leadership, and even those who are higher up. And of course, we have to deal with you as well. I need you to appreciate the little things that educators and schools are doing for your children. How can you show appreciation? A kind word, a little gesture. I dare say you can even show this appreciation in tangible ways. If you are a business professional, and you can find it in you to give a little donation, a little discount to the teacher. We spend a lot of our money and buying things. You can offer a gift card. At certain times, there is always Teacher Appreciation Day. And of course, in Antigua in particular, there is also a professional development day that is set aside for teachers. So I'm putting it to you out there for those of you in Antigua. If you are a parent with a particular set of skills that may very well come in handy and improve teachers, you can give of your service, show your appreciation in tangible ways. To your children, too, I need you to be appreciative. Remember their efforts. Children are very, very impressive beings, and they sometimes fall a little short and require validation from you in particular, their first teacher, their parents. I need you to walk along with them and show appreciation for the little small steps they take as they progress along the educational path. I need you to encourage them to keep going beyond so that they can succeed and exceed the expectations. And of course, my students, how can you yourself show appreciation? I can say that at school, you can indeed show your appreciation by being respectful to your teachers. If you understand the value and importance of why teachers are with you, you will want to be respectful. So you've got to watch your tone and your words. You will be respectful when you complete your homework and assignments and your projects. You will be respectful when you follow the protocols and the guidelines that are given to you. And of course, you can also show appreciation to your parents. They go above and beyond to ensure that you are well taken care of. So don't force them and have a sense of entitlement to get them to purchase expensive things because your peers are having them show appreciation for the little they can afford. That will go a very long way in ensuring that you can perform at your best in school. Is that sense of entitlement getting to you when it's Monday that you've got to have that new thing? No, it shouldn't. Show appreciation for the meals that they prepare for you. Show appreciation for the little money that they give to you to get to school. Show appreciation. Show appreciation for your peers, those who are kind. And of course, appreciate yourself as well for your little efforts that you are giving and do your best to make sure that you succeed to the highest degree. Educators, How can you show appreciation? I know it's hard on the educator because oftentimes we work way above and beyond with little. But I want to first start off by saying that we need to show appreciation just by virtue of being employed as an educator. It's the most noble profession. I know we aren't appreciated, we aren't well paid, we aren't always listened to, but we can show appreciation because we have a job and we know why we came into the profession. So show appreciation for the fact that you are employed as a teacher. You have a role to play. You have a mark to make on many, many young minds that will live on for many years after you have left the stage. Show appreciation for your students. Praise them when they do well, because we know we get on their case when they do nonsense. So we want to appreciate them. Appreciate the parents who are on board with us, the parents who work along with their children so that the teaching learning process can proceed in the best ways they can. Show appreciation for all other colleagues, those who are always on board to help. Show appreciation to all leaders, despite what's going on. Leading is difficult. Leadership can be quite lonely, despite what may or may not be happening. Show appreciation. Give Jack his jacket. That's what we always say in the Caribbean. So when leaders are doing well, we show appreciation as well. And then, of course, we're thinking about unity or unison. We're thinking about positivity. We're thinking about togetherness because the ultimate goal is to ensure that the school as an organization develops and offers to the main clients, which are our students, the best that they should get. So even if we don't always agree on things, we need you to show that we can work together. So, parents, how can you show that you are working in unity? What can you do to show? Of course, there are many ways that you can offer your services. You can volunteer to be on school boards, to be on work along with different events. You can volunteer to be part of different committees. You can be part of the PTA. You can work together. If something is going wrong and you know that you can talk to someone who can talk to someone to bring a resolution, you can do that to us parents because you are an important stakeholder in all of this. You can show that you are in unity with us. If there is an issue at the school that needs to be dealt with, you can come forward and offer your suggestions as to what may work together positively. And even when you don't agree with us, you can still show yourself because ultimately the goal, the goal, of course, is to advance the school and to make sure that our students are performing at the highest level. My students, how can you show that you are working together and you are positive? You can simply follow the rules and the expectations. I've always said to my students that it's okay to disagree with something. That's normal. That's being human. But if the thing is, it isn't inhumane, it isn't illegal, it isn't immoral, and of course, it isn't unethical, you should follow through for the short time that you're around the school. Your aim is to get out as quickly as possible with the best quality of education. And so following along with the rules is an excellent way for you students to show that you're working in unity. How can you educators, sorry, show that you work in unity? We can stand together with certain rules that the school wants to implement. And I would go further to say that there are some times that we do not always agree as educators. Conflict is very rare in the workplace, and that's quite all right. What we need to remember is that we can agree to disagree and ultimately think about our students. So we can stand together if there's a major issue that is retarding the progress of the school. We can stand together. We can stand together with leadership. I know it's difficult sometimes for some of us to do that, but we have to think of the end goal, standing together in unity because we're thinking of the end product. We're thinking of the purpose. We are being reasonable and wise because we are pausing, taking a temporary break or interruption from how we would normally want to proceed, particularly when the thing doesn't go our way. That's what we do when we are thinking about unity as educators. So we have now moved on to being selective. How can you parents be intentional as you choose one thing over the other so that the education of your child or children may proceed with few glitches as possible and ultimately be the best in the interest of your child? There are some very simple ways. So, for example, in Antigua Barbuda in particular, transportation for children of school age is entirely free. The school buses are always available. When you are selective, you are intentionally choosing to have your child catch the school bus or have them pay, even when you know that you do not have the finances. What is the choice you're going to make? If you're going to be selective, you will make the right choice because you want the best for your child and you want to be able to give to him or her what is best. Small things as the type of nutrition that your child is engaging with. The brain requires food. The attention span of children is getting shorter and shorter. And experts have talked about the type of nutrition that will aid the child in being a little more receptive and being able to grasp concepts. What is your selection like as it relates to child's nutrition? You've got to be selective in the type of friends you allow your child to have. I know for some of you it sounds very odd, but I'm gonna say that as long as you have a child of school age, under the age of 18 in particular, when you are responsible, I will probably say for myself, under the age of 21, if you have a child that you are responsible for, you have that right to be selective in the friends that you would want your child to keep. Friends may make or break a child. You have that right as the parent. I dare say, even for the needs and the wants as you make your choices and decisions. How selective are you? How intentional are you as you determine and decide what it is that your child needs in the new school year for his progress and for your own sanity as well? Being selective is what you ought to do as a parent. And then, of course, for you, my students, I need you to think of selection in terms of your friends that you keep, the things that you say, the social media that you think is more important than your homework or studying for that little quiz, the words that you're going to utter to the new girl, the bullying type of attitude that you want to display because you think you are a bad girl or a bad boy, or whatever term that you use these days. You have to be selective. You have to be selective in the type of music that you listen to because that type of music may very well be interfering with how you are able to internalize the concepts that are being taught to you by your teachers. How selective are you? Selection in terms of how you go to bed, the hours of sleep that you have, so that you are well rested to return to school the next day and perform to the best of your ability. How you respond to arguments. For those of you who are prone to be violent, how are you able to resolve your conflicts wisely without having a weapon? These are the things we are talking about to you students. I want to reiterate the idea of being selective, of selection, intentionally applying one choice over the next to ensure that it augurs well for you for this school year, being selective. And of course, my fellow educators, I cannot reiterate enough that there are some things that we just have to leave alone. We have to choose wisely our responses when sometimes policies may not always be what we want them to be. Think about our purpose in the school. Think about the students. Think about our response. How selective are we? Not every parent demands a response. It isn't to say that we're to allow others to tear us apart and tear us down and be disrespectful. It isn't to say we cannot have our boundaries, but we have to be selective in our choice of words. So when we want to make jabs, instead of choosing a better form of communication, we have to think about that. When we are thinking about a child that doesn't have what he or she needs, how selective are we in embracing? What biases do we bring to the table as we make choices for children? Putting them in programs, having them represent the school, maybe allowing them to be part of leadership in the school as students. When we think of selection, what do we do? When we're thinking of the colleagues that we're working with and our leadership as well, we have to be selective. We have to be specific of the effect that our selection can have, the choices that we make. My educators, we are part of a big program. We impact the lives of many, many minds for years and years to come. So being selective is very, very crucial. And so as we wind down to the last word, and I dare say one of the most crucial ones, I might add, that of engage. Occupying, participating, practicing, and undertaking activities for your well being. Parents, you too need to think about engaging in self care activities. Your children come home from school. You yourself, you're a part of a workplace. There are other things in your life that bring to bear on you. You have to find a way to engage in useful activities that will make you stay along a little bit longer for your child or children. If you know that you have a particular health situation, you ought to take care of yourself. What does your nutrition look like? What does your exercise routines look like? What does your social life look like? How much rested are you? And you find some time, if you have small children and you're very hectic, to at least engage in a little playing with them. It's important. As I always said in this space, it's important to take some time away, particularly in nature. Nature is a healer, nature is soothing, and nature is calming. It's important for your parents to find that balance in taking care of yourself, because if you aren't able to take care of yourself, this is going to filter on into that of your child's attitude. And how will it look like for us as educators when they come to us burdened and laden, all sorts, because you have not decided to engage in self-care? For you students, you too can engage in your own type of self-care. You need the rest. You've got to have your hours of sleep. So don't hide away in the room when mom isn't looking, or maybe asleep, or maybe at work, or whatever it is. Follow the instructions given by your parents if they are the good ones, that you can have your rest. Engage in physical activity. It's good for you. It's good for you. If you know that you have a health situation and your parents are really trying their best, don't try to make it worse by going against what you know you are supposed to be doing. Engage in self-care so your brain can be ready to take in what we have for you this new school year. And of course, for you, my fellow educators, I can never stop ever telling you how important it is for you to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself at all times. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you too have health conditions, you need to pay attention to yourself. You need to take the time away when you must to preserve your well-being, your emotional and mental wellness. So vital in the type of job that we have to perform. The multiplicity of situations that come upon us demand that we take care of ourselves and we have a set of balance. So I just want to reiterate to all of us, as the new school year is set to begin in the next couple of weeks, we have to pause. We have to take some time to rest. We have to do a temporary interruption in our activity or speech before we proceed. We have to think of perspective, looking at things in a reasonable and wise fashion. We have to think about showing appreciation, understanding and recognizing the value and importance of persons and individuals and events and situations. We have to lean towards unity, even if we have to agree to disagree, because togetherness and positivity are what are important for the school year to go well. We have to be selective. So we intentionally choose one thing over the next. We have to be specific of the effects. Of course, and by all means, we have to engage in useful and meaningful activities for our well-being, because our emotional and mental wellness, peace of mind, are that important. Be blessed Saturday as we pause into the new school year 2025-2026.